This is the plaintiff, Azariah Campbell. He says he picked up the defendant in his taxicab, and the guy stiffed him on the fare. He got angry, sprayed the man with copper-tone suntan lotion, and was arrested. The defendant was a no-show in court for 8 days. The case was thrown out, and he's here suing the cheap, pesky defendant for $5,000 for wasting his time and lost wages. This is the defendant, Robert. He says the plaintiff tried to overcharge him for a ride he always takes from the mall home. The driver attacked him in his driveway, pepper sprayed him in the face, then took off when he heard the cops' sirens. 6 months later, he appeared in court, did what he was supposed to do, and owes this menace to society nothing. He's accused of not paying in full.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff's a cabbie who picked up a guy who stiffed him, but he sprayed the guy with copper tone right in his eyes until the police came and arrested him. The defendant says it was pepper spray and the guy was trying to overcharge him. It's the case of being a shortchanger.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Azariah Campbell,
Yes,
you are
Your Honor.
suing Robert. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $5,000. According to you, you're actually out more than that for lost wages and legal fees for malicious prosecution, because according to you, he had you arrested for something that you shouldn't have been arrested for. So talk to me. Tell me what happened.
Yes, Your Honor. In March 3rd, I was at the taxi stand in White Plains. And while sitting on the stand, I see two people came to my car and asked me if I could take them to Yonkers. I drove them to Yonkers.
Nobody discussed how much it would be?
No, both of them came in the car, and upon coming in the car, I drove them to their address. I didn't even know their address.
How long did it take?
It's approximately 25,
Okay.
30 minutes.
Okay.
I drove them to their address, and the gentleman gave me $28. I said to him, it's $34 for the fare. And he was getting out the car and grabbing his bags to take out the car. So I decided to get the remaining of the money. I hold on to the bags.
How? You're sitting in the front seat and your arm goes back?
Right there. We both get out. You
both get out of the car?
Outside. So I grab onto the bags and said to him, "So you're going to pay me my money?"
You grabbed the bags that were in his hand?
Yes.
Okay.
So I said,
So did you successfully rip them out of his hand?
No, we was
struggling over it?
Tussling over
Okay.
it. Tussling with the bag. And he said, "Let go of my bag." And he used a profane word.
What was the word?
So I said, "Get off my bag."
Okay.
Yes, okay. So I did not let it go, and then he punched me in my stomach.
Wait, so you didn't let go, and then he punched you
me in
in
my
your
stomach,
stomach, like punched like this?
Yes, punched me in my stomach.
Okay.
And then I staggered back, and right on my side of my door, there was a copper stone spray, which I have. You really spray in my car.
A copper tone what?
Spray.
Suntan lotion?
Yes, suntan lotion.
That's what you keep for
Yes.
protection, suntan lotion?
No, I use it for my hand.
Okay.
I use it for my hand in the summer.
Okay. And then what happens?
I sprayed him with it.
In the eyes?
Yes.
Okay. And then what happens?
It decided he was advancing back to me, Your Honor. So I jump in my car and I try to take off.
How advancing back? He's right on you, and how do you get in your car if he's right there?
No, I get in my car, I spray him, and then he
No, I'm not getting it. I need a car. Can we have a car, like a little model car?
Yes.
I know we have them. Hold on. I need you to come forward, please. I need you to stand right here. Yes. Okay. You're standing here next to the driver's side.
Yes, Your Honor.
And he's standing here next to the back of the driver, back seat behind the driver.
No, he came out the driver's door, this door, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And he was going here, Your Honor.
Okay. Where does the tussle for the bags take place? Here. Look at that. Look at that. I love my staff. Okay. Where does the tussle for the bags take place? Here by your door or over here?
Right here.
Okay. So then he punches you in the stomach, and then he walks, and then he gets here.
After he punched me in the stomach, I stagger back.
Right. And then he keeps walking.
And he keep walking.
So you reach in.
I reach here, right inside of this door here.
You grab the copper tone.
Oh, yes.
You run after him.
Yeah,
And then you
not really
spray.
run up.
Well, he's here now,
Yes.
so you have to walk several
Yes.
paces to get to him to spray him,
Yeah,
right?
I
He's walking
sprayed
away
him,
from
yes.
you. Okay.
After I sprayed him, he was advancing to me. I run back in my car, close my door,
And you left. Okay, go ahead and go back. What happened?
I got into the cab at White Plains Galleria with my daughter, took a cab to
How old is your daughter?
18.
Okay, come on up. So go on.
We took the cab from the White Plains Galleria to my place of residence,
Okay.
and upon arrival,
Have you taken a cab from Galleria to your place of residence before?
plenty of times.
Okay, and how much does it normally cost according to you?
$28, $30 tops.
Okay, so if that's what it costs, why are you handing a guy $28? Don't you tip your cab drivers after a 25-minute ride?
Occasionally,
Oh,
I would.
maybe you should. Okay, so go ahead. So you $28 or $30. The man is telling you $34, and you can't just pay the guy the other $4. You end up having to inherit this kind of problem in the presence of your 18-year-old daughter over this. Seems stupid now, doesn't it? Seems stupid now
It seems very stupid, yes.
in retrospect. All right, so you get there, and what happens? Let's take it from you get there. He tells you it's 34, and you say,
I told him I only had $30 on me. I gave him $30.
okay,
That's what I had on me.
and then.
And then he was kind of, no, it's 34. We got out of the car. He jumps out of the car like a madman. And he's threatening to give me my money, your mother. Over and over again, repeatedly. It's happened repeatedly over and over again until the point he chased me on my property.
Okay, so
I told
you're
him-
aware, according to you, is there a struggle for the bags or no?
Yes, there was.
Was the struggle for the bags close to the car?
He was grabbing the bags. He would grab the back of my jacket. He kept grabbing the back of my jacket. And I told him, I said, get off me, don't touch me. You're on my property. I'm calling the police.
Wait, you're not on your property. Come over here. Everybody needs to be very specific. I need to understand how this happened. So here you are, and you eventually get to your property, I understand, but I want to know where the struggle for the bags happens.
Okay. Like I said,
No, that's not the driver's side. That's the driver's side.
Right.
Yeah, this is the front of the car.
But I got up here in the back.
So you were not behind the driver?
No. He chased me around like this.
Okay. Who was behind the driver? Your daughter?
She was.
Okay, so according to you, you get out of here, and he comes around, and what happens? Here, let me put it. Well, kind of interesting. Both doors close at the same time. Okay, go ahead. So what happens?
We were arguing here. I told him I'm not giving you any more money, and I proceeded to go on my property at that point.
Okay.
This is
How
when he
far
started-
is your property? Is he parked like right at the curb?
Pretty much, yeah. Right
Okay,
there,
go ahead.
give or take.
So go on.
And this is when he started grabbing me. I said, now you're on my property. Get off me. You're harassing me at this point. Okay, so I'm going to call the police. This several times. No. He kept telling me, no, I'm not getting off the property. No. I said, you better get off because I'm calling the police. I finally just picked up the phone and called, and they're actually hearing this. I'm telling them, Yonkers Police says I'm having a problem with this cab driver harassing me. I gave him $30. I paid my fare, and he's not leaving me alone. So there was snow on the side, and when he grabbed me again, I somehow slipped. It happened very fast.
Okay.
At this point, I was almost face down. So when I went to get back up, he grabbed me like this. I was down. And all of a sudden, I feel this chemical burn on my face. He must have sprayed me about 12 to 14 times on my face, my eyes, my ears, my neck, my head. I was burning.
You don't think it was copper tone?
No,
Not
it
that
wasn't.
copper tone wouldn't burn. That would burn too. But you think it was pepper spray?
They know.
How do you know?
The arresting officer says it was.
Okay. But you didn't. Obviously, it happened too fast for you to see what it was that was in his
A
hand.
little bit. Certain events or moments of the event would happen a little too fast.
Okay. And then what happens?
So the police had shortly arrived after that.
Okay, but he had left.
He already
Okay.
left.
All right.
And they were
How
frustrated.
long did it take the police to get there?
I guess a couple of minutes.
Okay. Go ahead and go back to the podium, to the lectern. Okay. So they question you, and then do they say to you, do you want to go to the hospital?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens? Do you go to the hospital?
I went to the hospital.
Okay. And what did they do?
They continued to flush my eyes until the pain went away.
Okay. And then you go home that night.
Yes.
And the police do their investigation, and he ends up being arrested. The case gets continued like 5 times. Who drops the charges?
I dropped him.
Why?
Every time I went to court, he was telling me that his attorney wasn't ready.
Why didn't you just wait and see the thing through?
I just didn't want to deal with it.
Okay.
I'm being very
well,
honest.
now you're
I didn't
dealing
want to
with
see
it,
him
aren't you?
again. I
Right.
didn't want to
You
see him.
didn't expect him to sue you right afterwards, right?
Sorry, Your Honor, but I don't want to look at him.
Right. Hi.
Hi,
How old are you?
I'm 18.
All right. You remember this night?
Yes, exactly.
I have to imagine this doesn't happen that. I would like to hope that this doesn't happen that often in the life of an 18-year-old.
Hopefully not.
Or in the life of anybody. But go ahead. So what happens?
He had asked us once he dropped us off in front of our house, he was like, how much do you guys usually pay? And we said usually 28 to 30, no more than 30. And then he's like, oh, it's going to be 34. And my dad pays him the 30. He says, I'm not going to give you any more. I don't have any more money on me. Then he starts getting aggressive. They start arguing a little bit. My dad gets out of the car. He jumps right out of his car. He already has his hand in his right pocket. So my dad yells to me as he's going down the driveway. He's like, oh, get out of the car, Brittany. So I get out, and he's in my dad's face, giving me money, calling him names, cursing at him. And my dad just keeps telling him, just leave me alone, leave me alone. And he starts calling the police, and they're still fighting, whatever. And eventually, we were close to the door, a couple feet away.
So this is over $4,
yes.
literally.
And he was grabbing onto his jacket. So my dad had his bags this way, and he was like this. So he didn't have any type of, freedom to like punch anyone or anything like that. And he just takes out the spray and just sprays him and runs off.
Where does the spraying happen?
In our driveway, near our door. I'm going to say about like 2-3 feet away from our house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the police come, he gets arrested. You end up paying a lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much did you pay the lawyer?
$1,500.
And you're suing for the $1,500 you paid the lawyer plus $3,800 for your time and having to go to court.
Yes,
Except for that, according to them, it's your lawyer who was never ready.
Not
Well, who wasn't ready? Why wouldn't the prosecutor be ready? There's nothing to the case.
No time, Your Honor, my lawyer never showed up. My lawyer showed up each time he was appointed to come to court.
I'm sorry, say that again.
My lawyer showed up.
Your liar?
My lawyer. My attorney. Not a liar.
Well, maybe, but you're a lawyer.
My attorney.
Lawyer, your attorney. Perfect.
My attorney has showed up.
So then who was asking for continuances?
And he was the person who had never showed up, Your Honor.
Well, he's not. He shouldn't have to show up. I don't know how the custom in your particular town, but
he was afraid of purging himself.
No. My question to you is, why didn't the case go to trial according to you?
So who's more of a problem generally? Taxi drivers or passengers?
Passengers.
Why do you say?
Because they probably don't like the price of the cab fare, maybe?
Maybe, but who overall is more difficult? Taxi drivers, passengers?
I would probably say passengers.
Because?
Because a lot of them are drunk when they're getting in the cab.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking going inside the courtroom.
Why did it keep getting postponed?
Because each time he didn't show up, Your Honor.
Yeah, but were you supposed to be showing up?
No, I didn't know. Your Honor.
Okay, and but according to you, you showed up the first few times?
Yes,
did
I
you
did,
show
Your
up?
Honor. Yes, I did. Your
Okay,
Honor.
how many times did you guys show up?
2 times, Your
Were
Honor.
you and then during the times that you're there, why doesn't the trial happen if everybody's there? Because his lawyer asked for a continuance.
No.
And according to you, that didn't happen. All right, great. All right, let me ask you a question, Mr. Campbell. On what planet would we have to be living where you could get mad at somebody, turn around, go to the back of your car, grab something to spray them with, run over to where they are and spray them, and that you wouldn't be arrested? Because that sounds like anger as opposed to self-defense.
No,
Even according to your own story, when you told me what happened, he was here when you sprayed him, which means that you had to grab something and come after him several steps, 6, 7, 8 steps in order to spray the guy. Also, it's kind of far-fetched that a person would have copper tone for protection as opposed to pepper spray for protection.
I didn't use it for protection, Your Honor.
Yes, you're very careful about that hand during the summer. I got it. But when you have to go here and then walk over here to spray a guy, why wouldn't you get arrested for it? I mean, you got lucky and it ended up getting dismissed and all that, but a prosecutor looked at the case and said, are you kidding me? Do you have a police report from that day?
No, I don't, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have the police report from that day?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, it's not good for you, right? Because they didn't get your version of stuff about the punch and all that, right? None of that comes out until now, right? Yeah, okay. Miraculously, there's no counterclaim in this case. He just wants you to leave him alone and go away. Never sues you for the spray or the medicals he just wants you to go away. Well, today's your lucky day, Robert. He's going to go away. I find that it is not reasonable to reach in, grab something, and then walk this way to spray a guy's eyes. I find it is not reasonable. I don't find this to be self-defense. And I find in favor of the defendant in this case, you do not have to pay him anything. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the defendant prevails in this case. Mr. Campbell, the plaintiff, is coming out of the courtroom. You do not get the $5,000 you were seeking, Mr. Campbell. Step back just a little bit, sir. Thank you very much. How do you feel about the outcome here?
I don't know why the judge failed to see the truth of the story. I don't understand why. Because the truth of the matter is that this defendant didn't pay me my money.
That's a big argument over essentially $4, right?
And then he punched me. I end up get punched. And then he...
And arrested?
And get arrested.
Yeah,
so
and harassed. And you go to court?
Yes.
And you end up with nothing more.
Yes, and then he was afraid of purging himself.
All right.
Come to court.
Well, listen, the judge didn't believe your story either, you know. So that's the way it ends up. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry about that. Now the defendant's on his way out of the courtroom. Robert, I think the judge was really nonplussed that you just didn't give him the extra $4 and call it quits. If you encounter something like this again, do you think you will do that? Or will you stand your ground and say, no, I'm not going to give you anything?
I'll stand my ground.
You will?
Because I believe in the right fare, the right money, you know, we've been paying what's right.
Okay. You satisfied with what happened? I'm sure you
Definitely.
are. You should be thrilled.
Very good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Harvey?
Okay, we talked about this with Dennis. Taxi drivers also are licensed, usually by the city or county where they are. And again, you can file complaints, and sometimes they can help you short of going to court.
This is the plaintiff, John Mungai. He says he was driving in a taxi cab that he leases, and the defendants crashed into him. He's been chasing after these bums for almost 2 years now. They've been trying to dodge him, and today's judgment day because he's finally got them in court and is suing them for the $5,236 he's owed. These are the defendants, Kendra Rosiak and Devin Price. Kendra says the plaintiff crashed into them when they slowed down to make a turn. Now, 2 years later, he's making up all these stories because he's trying to scam them out of money. He's now claiming he was hurt, but the medical records he showed them look made up because they're full of misspelled words. Oh, him? Ha! They're accused of dodging a cabbie.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff was driving a taxi when the defendants crashed into them and haven't paid in 2 years. But the defendants say the plaintiff crashed into them and is lying about his injuries. It's the case of taxicab confession.
Thank you. John Mungai, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Apparently you got into an accident with Kendra and Devin, Kendra Rosiak and Devin Price?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was quite some time ago. When was that?
It was actually 2 years ago on May 5th.
Who was driving?
I was.
Whose car was it?
It was my car.
Why was he driving?
He was driving because we had left the club and I was more than intoxicated to drive.
Okay. So how does the accident happen?
I was going back to downtown Cleveland. It was May 6th, early in the morning, 1 in the morning. And I approached the traffic light. I had the green light to go ahead. And to my left, I knew there was a car waiting there to turn left. That was going opposite direction, but they wanted to turn in front.
Right.
So when I went through the light, I knew that car was still there. And the next thing I knew was I crashed to another car that I didn't know
where did that car even come from?
I didn't know at the time.
What were you guys doing?
We were going left, and then he was coming straight towards
Right,
us.
so you're turning into where he's already traveling, right?
Yes,
Who's
Your
got
Honor.
the right of way?
He did.
Right, so whose fault is the accident?
It's my fault.
Right, okay. So what happens? Everybody gets out of their car. Was anyone injured?
Go ahead.
No, Your Honor, no one was injured. We made sure of that before driving
you fled?
away. Yeah.
Because you guys fled, right?
Yes.
You left the scene of an accident. Why?
I was nervous, to be honest.
I can't hear you.
I said I was nervous, to be honest.
What were you nervous about? Were you driving intoxicated too, just less intoxicated than she was?
No, Your Honor. I was not
What were you nervous
intoxicated.
about then?
I just have never been in an accident.
Right, but how does it make it better to flee? Now it's a criminal case instead of just an accident that can happen to anybody. When you flee, that leads me to believe that it's better for you to flee than to stay, right? So why would you flee? Did you flee too?
I wasn't the passenger in the car.
Yeah, you fled in the car. Did you stay there?
No.
And say, no, you can run, but leave my car and me here. Yeah, that didn't happen, right?
No.
Why would you guys do that?
Yeah,
How old are you?
I am 25.
How old are you?
I'm 25 as well.
So what happens? They flee, and you call the police.
Yeah, actually, I called police before they left.
Right.
And he approached me. He said, look, I will give you $500 and the witness $500 so that I don't have to wait for police.
The witness? What witness?
There was
a third car?
Yeah, before
wait. So he was trying to bribe the witness?
Yes.
Okay.
Because before he turned left, there was another car in front of him.
So that car's a witness?
Yes, he was taping everything. He has a video
GoPro
camera.
and taping everything?
Yes.
So did you offer the witness $500?
No, I didn't offer the witness $500.
Did you offer him $500 to?
I didn't offer him a certain amount, but I did offer him money. There
What'd you
wasn't
say?
a specific amount.
What did you say?
I told him that I would give him money.
I'll give you money if what?
If he didn't call the police.
Okay, why didn't you want him to call the police?
Because I didn't want to get in no trouble for the hit.
Okay, now apparently you had no insurance, right?
I did not at the time of the accident, no.
Right, so you would have gotten a ticket for driving without insurance. You would have gotten a ticket for failure to yield right away, which you ended up getting eventually. And this is my favorite part of the story, how long it took. And then you could very well have been charged with leaving the scene of an accident, right? And that's a criminal offense. So what happens? GoPro man, the witness, hands the police the tape from the GoPro.
Yes.
2 years later.
2 years ago. Oh yeah, no, he did. I know this. And that's the witness. The witness had a GoPro on his dash. So the police have the tape. Where are you from? Cleveland, Ohio. Police have the tape from the date of the accident, May 6, 2017, until when do you finally hear from them?
We found out December 18th of last year.
So they have it for a year and a half before they look at it. And their answer for why is what? We're busy?
You only have one detective for hit and escape in Cleveland.
I don't care if they have one detective. He's got an 8-hour day for a year and a half.
Well, they were behind like a year and a half.
That's crazy. I mean, that's insanity. How many cases do they have with a hit and run where there's an actual video of it?
I don't know. Maybe
yeah, I'm pretty sure not that many.
I
mean, that's insanity. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And you guys are kind of shocked that this is all surfacing all this time later. I don't know why. You have no right to be shocked because you fled. And so people had to catch you. And you're surprised and insulted. Why didn't they catch me sooner? Okay, this is why. All right? Now, let's discuss your lawsuit. You didn't end up having to pay for the damages to the car, correct? Because that is a leased car, and I guess the people you lease it from, their insurance paid for that?
No, there was a misunderstanding there. Actually, I'm responsible for paying for damages. But in this case, they were paid by the uninsured motorist fund by the state of Ohio.
Okay, so you are not out money for the repair of the car?
No.
Okay, so what you've come to court to sue for is $1,500 in pain and suffering and $2,200 in lost wages, plus the amount you had to pay for the car because you couldn't stop leasing the car. You were in the middle of a lease agreement.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any paperwork to prove the lease agreement and its term and the fact that you had to keep renting it?
No, that's one about the taxi business. It's not black and white. It's where you go, you agree how much you're going to be paid and when to be paid. They don't have all this paperwork. I don't know why. The only paper I had is just to show the base a week, which was 300
so
plus
that
insurance.
paperwork in particular covers a particular week, right? So is there paperwork for each week?
No, because it was monthly. It's just like a mortgage, how you take a 10 years mortgage,
right,
but there is payment.
Okay, but now I need you to listen to me. How are you going to prove to me that you didn't work for 4 weeks? That's a big part of what you're suing for is I lost wages for 4 weeks. How are you going to prove to me what your wages are and that you lost them for those 4 weeks?
Well, to go with the first thing, whether I worked is, I couldn't even go drive that car to downtown because it was damaged. Otherwise, that car was...
So then what you're saying is your car was out of service?
Yes, it was damaged.
Okay, so it's not that you couldn't work because you didn't feel well, it's that you couldn't work because there was no car? Okay, so then that's even easier to prove. Then you can show me how long the repair place took to fix the car. Do you have the repair paperwork?
Well, the repair was done by the company because I could not...
It doesn't matter. Do you have the repair paperwork so I can see how long?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're also suing for pain and suffering. Tell me about that.
Well, the doctor instructions after...
Can I see that? Let me see every piece of paper you have from the hospital.
Okay.
Now, you guys thought the paperwork was fraudulent. Why?
Okay, there are a few misspellings on there, and also the nurse had wrote on the bottom that he had took Percocet from his friend for his pain. But I know that's illegal to take other people's medication. You just can't do that, and I don't think the nurses are writing that on his
Why not?
hospital
Why wouldn't a
papers.
nurse write that if that's what he said? It's important to his medical diagnosis that he's on Percocet.
But isn't that illegal? It was
Yeah,
his
but what does that
friend's.
have to do with whether he's on Percocet? If I'm in pain and someone has a Percocet, I may take the Percocet. That's not your business. Your business is you hit a guy, he got in pain, and you fled, hoping nobody had you on tape, which makes you a terrible person. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So it's really not your business that he didn't have the money to get Percocet prescribed to him directly and pay for the Percocet, and he had a friend who he borrowed Percocet from. I don't think that if I were in your position, I'd be hinging my hat on that.
Okay.
Somebody flees the scene of an accident. Should they go to jail?
Yes.
Why?
Because.
Should they go to jail?
Yes.
Why?
Because they flee the scene. No one knows who they are.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Everybody wants to throw them in jail, but they won't say why. Going inside the courtroom.
Did you end up at a chiropractor? They recommended that you go to a chiropractor.
I went to once, and then after they told me how much cost it was, and I didn't have insurance, I didn't proceed. I just continued taking the
So how did you end
prescription.
up getting better?
It took me a while to get it.
What were you going to say in answer to my question?
We just have a picture of the car, and I'm just a little confused with the pain and suffering because
Hold on,
this is,
my bailiff will get it from you.
that's literally it's not that bad. Like, that was the only damage that was done.
Have you ever been in a car accident before, or was this your first one? Is this your car?
That's mine.
Right.
That's
what
the
was the
back of
damage
my
to his
car.
car? Do you have a picture of that? Of the damage to his car? You didn't
No.
stick around for that. All right. Do you have a picture of the damage to your car?
No, I didn't have.
What kind of car were you in?
It was a Dodge fan.
One time I was in an accident. I was in a Honda van, and it was my fault. And I hit the Mercedes that was in front of me. It was right in front of the courthouse that I was the judge at. And the lady was fine. Her Mercedes had a scratch on it, and the entire front end of my Honda was in. But she was fine. Everything depends. I don't think you're in a position to say someone's lying about their pain and suffering because look, this is the only damage to my car. You have no idea what you inflicted on the other person, which was what makes you such miserable people, to just leave him to be out there to wait for the police alone, and just leave because you're so selfish and you were only thinking about yourself. I don't think I'm going to listen to you tell me about whether or not he was in pain when I know that before anybody even caught you, he's telling the nurse that he's in such pain that ibuprofen doesn't help, and he had to borrow a friend's Percocet. I think that's a better indication of the kind of pain he was in than what you're saying. Do you have anything else to show me?
No, you
Okay,
aren't.
I have some concerns about your proof in the case because you don't have a lot to show me to prove the things that you're saying. You don't have, and I understand that sometimes it's just the way the industry works. I get that. But, at a minimum, the person who you lease it from could testify to me that it was in the shop for X weeks. He could write an affidavit that says that. You could show me the paperwork from the place that says that. There's so much you could do to show me that you were out of work for that amount of time. It's ironic because I think what happened is because the police took so darn long, it's really hard for you to build your case. The police ask you if you wanted them arrested?
Yeah, they wanted me to prosecute them criminally.
Why didn't you?
Because I called him in January and asked him to work with me, and then later on he had his father call me, say I'm harassing them. And then they asked me...
This is why no good deed goes unpunished. These are the same people who fled the scene. Why would you cut them another break? You know what they care about? Themselves. It never ceases to amaze me how no good deed goes unpunished.
Well, I talked to Ken.
Yeah, you know what? We're good. I don't need to hear anything else. I am more mad at them for fleeing and then having no soul at this trial than I am at you for not having paperwork. But I can't ignore that you're missing a lot of paperwork. So I'm not going to give you the amount that you are asking for on your lost wages, but I am going to order the defendants to pay you $2,000 in pain and suffering. That's my verdict.
So the defendants are on their way out of the courtroom with a judgment of $2,000 on their head. If I were you, I'd feel a little embarrassed right now. How do you feel?
Really embarrassed.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
really
not
embarrassed.
surprised. How about you?
Yeah, very embarrassed.
I mean, why didn't
Yeah.
you know, obviously you didn't do anything to help him out financially, so I guess the best thing to say is you better be careful.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
Yeah, live and learn. It's tough. All right,
Yeah.
good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mungai?
Yes.
What do you think about what the judge just said to you?
Well, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I can understand how I made some mistakes in dealing with them.
Not having the paperwork.
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry you didn't get everything you wanted, but good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Doug, you know, when people sue for pain and suffering, the trick to this, keep a diary day by day of everything you're feeling. That diary is invaluable in court.
This is the plaintiff, Andrew Chip Stern. He says he rented a taxi from the defendant and gave him a $1,000 deposit to cover damages. And after he's returned the cab, he can't get his deposit back. The defendant's a real wheeler dealer, but he's not about to let anyone, not even the defendant, wheel and deal him on anything. He's suing for $1,000, the amount he's owed and not a penny more. This is the defendant, Cliff Adler. He says he can't believe the plaintiff is suing him for the return of a damage deposit because the guy had 2 accidents 6 weeks apart. In fact, he tried to hide the second accident from him. You learn from your mistakes. He'll never rent out his cab again and is now out $6,000 of his own money due to the plaintiff. Owe him his deposit back? R-D-R-R-R. He's accused of holding on to the cash.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff rented a taxi from the defendant and he's not getting his deposit back. But the defendant says the guy got into accidents and damaged the whip. It's the case of cash cab.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Andrew Chip Stern, you are suing Cliff Adler
Yes, ma'am.
for $1,000, a security deposit that he has of yours that he refuses to return. Explain the relationship between the two of you.
Well, the relationship was he's an individual medallion owner.
A medallion is what?
The right to have a yellow cab on the road in New York City.
Right. Okay. And that's a very valuable right? Like that's hard to get.
It's not hard to get, but it's expensive.
It's expensive. What's a medallion worth?
Last time I heard it was over $600,000.
Over $600,000. Okay. So you have a yellow cab on the streets of New York City and you wanted to be able to do what?
Well, I was leasing the cab from him weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. And is this a cab that you lease out the rest of the week to someone else or you're driving it?
I drive.
Okay. So but you weren't driving it 7 days a week?
No.
All right. So he comes up to you with this idea and you're going to pay him how much to rent?
Well, I paid him a premium over the going rate for what a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday shift would be. So
Why?
Why? Because he had a nice cab and because I only wanted to do
So how much were you
weekends.
paying him?
I paid him $500 every weekend.
Okay, so you agreed to pay $500 and you, in fact, you signed an agreement, right?
We signed an agreement.
Who authored the agreement?
I authored the
You authored
agreement.
it. Okay, can I see the agreement?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at issue is this clause. As part of this agreement, Stern agrees to give Adler a check for $1,000, representing a refundable deposit on 3A96. What's that, the medallion number?
3A96 is the medallion
Okay,
number.
so then what happens?
Well, what happens is I drove for Cliff from, I think it was February 10th to July 1st of 2012. I would take the cab home and I would take it on Friday. I would garage it rather than park it on the street on Friday and Saturday.
Okay, I know about all that, but then what happens? There's an accident. Tell me about the
Yes, what happened was there was a gas station on 187th Street and Broadway.
Is that the first accident?
That's the first accident that I was responsible for.
No, tell me the first accident that happens with the cab.
The first accident occurred on Friday, May the 4th in Williamsburg.
Okay.
I was handling a credit card transaction and it wasn't going through. And a young man was trying to maneuver around me and he misjudged and he rear-ended the car and put a ding in the left bumper.
Okay.
At that point, I pulled the car over, exchanged information with him. A policeman showed up, and the young man indicated he didn't want to deal with an insurance claim, and he said he would be good for covering the damage.
How'd that work out?
He took care of it.
Oh, he did? Wow, I didn't expect. I know, that's a first.
Surprised.
How much was it?
$1,600.
And did you get it fixed with the $1,600?
I did eventually, yes.
With that $1,600? Or did you wait for the second accident?
I actually waited till the second accident.
Okay, so hold those $1,600, then what happens?
Well, that is not true, Your Honor.
Which part?
Any of it.
He didn't get $1,600 from the guy?
He got $1,500 from him to cover the cost of the accident. Then the following week, he got $600 from him to cover the time he lost getting the bumper fixed, only leaving out the small detail that he never got the bumper fixed. So basically, he leveraged the young man $2,100 under false pretenses.
How much did you get the young man from the young man? $2,100?
I guess what he said would be 21, yeah.
Okay. So now there's a second accident, which happens on what date?
That happened on the weekend ending Sunday, July 1st. I believe it was
tell me
on
about that
Friday
accident.
night. There's a gas station that I used in my neighborhood before I would garage the car. And I was basically hemmed in, and in trying to back out and get the car out of the gas station, I hit one of the metal extrusions on the gas island, and I put a bump in the right rear bumper of the car.
Now, at this point, had the bumper been fixed from the first accident?
The left bumper, no, it's never been fixed.
Okay, and so then what happens?
What happened was I called him and let him know that I had put a bump in the bumper, and I completed the weekend shift. The Thursday before my next weekend shift, Cliff called me up and said that he was going to abrogate our lease agreement and that he was afraid that he would not be able to sustain his insurance
Why did you
coverage.
really want to stop the deal with him?
Your Honor, he hasn't said very much that's been the truth so far. So it's a bit hard for me to remember everything that he's just been telling you. The reason why I did not file with the insurance, I'm required by the Taxi and Limousine Commission to report to my broker any accident I have. If I don't, I can get into serious trouble with the TLC. This is why anytime I've had an accident, I let my broker know. Whether he contacts the insurance or not is his decision. If he feels he doesn't have to, or it's not necessary, or we can avoid it, then it's avoided. What he said to me after the second accident was, and the first accident, the guy paid for it, okay? So that wasn't important. On the second one, it didn't happen the last weekend, as Chip loves to say. It happened a few weeks before then. And on a Monday, I mean, I have to notice that. It's not just a little ding, as he likes to call it. And as he told me on emails, on my cheap old cab or whatever it was, when he wants to disparage the cab, it's a Lexus hybrid, and it is in beautiful condition, all right?
Do you have a picture of it?
Not with me, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Do you have pictures?
Yes, I do.
Oh, can I see it? So you ended up paying how much to fix both accidents? Because it was mercifully, it was the same bumper.
The shop I went to.
And you hadn't fixed it. Luckily, you hadn't fixed the first one yet.
The bumper had to be changed. Body work had to be taken out. The paint has to be matched up to the body and the bumper.
How much was the whole thing?
The whole thing cost me a little over $1,000 from the body shop.
That's a picture of the car before the bumper
All right, with the
was
two blondes
damaged.
with you hanging all over you. Who are they?
They were some friends I made from Australia. The lady in the night is right is
The lady in the night?
The lady in the night.
Lady of the night? What was it you said?
That was, I misspoke.
A Freudian slip? You meant the lady on the right?
I'm afraid so. They were passengers from Australia where I helped them find a hotel they didn't have an address for.
Okay.
But that illustrates the car before the damage to the right bumper.
The damage to the left, the
Adler,
damage to the right.
May I address some things that Mr. Adler said?
No, because I pretty much have got it. Now, this $1,000, is this a dent in the right quarter panel? Or no?
I can't see from here, ma'am.
No, but I mean, do you know, was there damage?
Oh, yes.
There was
quarter
damage
panel.
to something other than the bumper?
The quarter panel on both sides, both quarter panels were hit. And
Is that accurate?
And the bumper.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now, you got all of this fixed for how much?
A little over $1,000.
Let me see the receipts of what it cost to get it fixed. And you did not go through insurance to get all of it fixed.
In the end, no.
In the end, you ended up just paying.
I told my broker, yeah.
You got paid like so much more than you deserved to get paid by that poor young sucker who was desperate not to claim it in his insurance. He must have been driving without insurance and didn't want to get in trouble for him to have covered that other accident. You get $2,100 and pocket that. Okay. You call that fraud, but it's not really fraud because, he managed to convince this poor sucker that was $2,100 worth of damage when we both know that double that damage was $900 worth of damage.
So, generally speaking, are cab drivers good drivers or bad drivers?
In my experience, I would say they were bad.
Because?
I mean, if I need to be somewhere fast, they're super aggressive, which is helpful, but it's kind of scary.
Super aggressive, which is helpful. What do you think?
In my experience, yeah, they're fine.
Because?
I just haven't had a bad experience yet, so.
Okay, who's had a smelly experience? Yeah, that's what we've all had going inside the courtroom.
I have to decide one thing and one thing only. How much of the bill that you ended up paying for repairing the Lexus should be his responsibility on the accident that was his fault? Okay, because the first one he's completely exonerated of since you collected from somebody else on it. 4 times what it's worth. So I find that to be half, $480.50. And therefore, I'm going to order you to return to him from the security deposit $519.50. That's verdict for the plaintiff. That's my ruling.
Well, the judge rules that the plaintiff is entitled to some of his security deposit back. Here's the defendant right here. What's your reaction to the outcome of this case here?
Very disappointed.
He doesn't seem like a very good driver. What are you doing?
I just said I had enough. I said, look, I can't afford to go to sleep at night. I told him on the phone when I said I can't afford to keep you anymore because I can't afford to go to sleep.
Don't you check out how good a driver is before you lease your beautiful cab?
He's not a kid. He's been doing this his whole life. So,
all right. Will you ever lease it again to anybody?
No, I don't see so. No.
All right. Head right around the corner. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck to you. All right. So here comes the cabbie out here. Step right in here next to me. Turn this way. You got some back, but not everything.
Well, life is like that sometimes, isn't it? Mr. Adler is a little disingenuous with his claims. He claims I damaged the car and didn't tell him for a few weeks, which is not true.
Do you talk like this when to your fares?
Yes, I do.
You talk to them?
And they find it very entertaining, sir.
Okay. Harvey?
Okay, you know what? This is a very simple point. When you sue and you win and you're entitled to damages, damages are supposed to make you whole, put back in the position you would have been in if the other party did the right thing. They are not designed to give you a windfall.